I'd like to demonstrate pre-disassembly checks on this gear set. So this is recommended if you're going to be removing the carrier assembly or the carrier and the pinion assembly. Maybe you're going in, you're replacing bearings or something like that, not necessarily replacing the gears themselves, but replacing bearings on them because they've worn out, whatever's happened inside here. Okay, so the first thing we need to do, remove the cover, drain all the oil out, and then I've cleaned off all the oil from the two gears, so just using some brake clean and whatnot. Okay, I've left the drive shaft connected, and the transmission is in neutral, so that way we are creating some drag in between the two gears, the pinion and the ring gear. Okay, once that's done, I want to take a little bit of my gear marking compound. Okay, and I just want to paint up about 3, maybe 4 teeth of the ring gear. So I'm going to put a little bit of this marking compound, brush this across. You just need a thin coating. So this is my coast side, this is the drive side. Right to the end of the teeth, nice even thin coating. Once I have some of that on there, I can then take a wrench on the ring gear bolts here, like so, and I'm just going to push that back, head towards the pinion, and just try to give it a nice even drag through the pinion gear all the way through. I'm going to come back, and this gets us rubbing off both sides, the drive and the coast. You can go back and forth a couple of times, a few times, whichever. We'll come back around and have a look at it. Okay, so now you can see we've got a pattern on the teeth where the marking compound has been rubbed away by the pinion as it came across my ring gear, and it has created a spot pretty nicely central to the drive side of my teeth here, okay, on all 3 of those. So that looks nice. And then we can also bring this down a little bit and have a better look at the coast. And there you can see the coast fairly central as well. So that gives us a good read on this gear set. This tells us that the gear set, for one, is in good condition. They're not worn out or anything like that. So we know we're good to reuse this gear set. But it also gives us the ability to put it back to exactly where it was before we took it apart. And that way we don't have the chance of possibly creating a gear whine or something like that. If something does change, but you end up with a different pattern, we could actually induce some noises into this. So we're trying to avoid that as well. So I'd recommend taking a picture of this at this point here. Everybody has their phone on them. They can snap a picture of this, save that for when they go back together. Okay. So next thing you want to do is take a backlash reading. Okay, so I'm going to set up my little dial indicator here. So now I've got my dial indicator set up, so you guys can see it nicely here. You can see I've got it on a nice flat surface of the tooth there, coming in as shallow as I can, so I get a true reading as this guy moves back and forth. I'm just a little bit off of 0 here, so I'm just going to adjust that just a little bit. I'm going to go the other way. Just rotate this a bit. Let's see, try to get that back to 0. See where we are for reading. Looks like we got just a little over 5/1000 of an inch of backlash. So we don't want that pinion to turn, just lightly moving this back and forth. Between 5 and 6/1000 of an inch backlash. Okay, so now we also have that. You want to record that and ideally put that uh, back to this exact same reading, provided it's within specification. I haven't checked the specifications on this as of yet, but put it back to that specification if we can when we go back together. There again, that's going to help this gear set operate the exact same way as it did before disassembly, provided the gear set was not making any noise. It was just bearings that were making noise, or we're taking something else apart in here to repair it, maybe replacing the differential case, something along those lines. Okay, that would be your pre-disassembly checks. That's all there is to it. Thank you.